And there's Ted.
Wow.
GM Farcaster. This is the CastOut edition, and you are here with Nounish Prof, Links, and Ted. And Ted just like jumped in right as I was going live.
I'm so sorry.
And we
I'm
noggled.
so
I'm
sorry.
going to take my goggles off because I can't see.
Yeah, I'm going to take mine off too because I can't see.
I didn't start this the way I normally do, so I am going to do that really quick. And today's challenge was Boregon Trail. And I'm going to just share the trailer first to start us off so everyone's on the same page. Here is what the players had to do. GM Farcaster's On-Chain Summer continues with CastOut. 5 players remain to outwit, outplay, and outcast for a chance to win 100,000 DGen. For the next challenge, the players will travel the Boregon Trail, playing a frame game by Board and Breadcat. Each player has been airdropped board tokens to play the game and try to travel the most miles on the Boregon Trail to win immunity, plus 10,000 board. Each player can make a maximum of 5 attempts and must share their score in the CastOut channel by 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. If you're not a CastOut player, you can still play along. Back your favorite player on bracket.game. Plus, for this challenge, you too can play Boregon Trail for a chance to win 10,000 board from the CastOut.eth prize wallet. Cast your score in the designated thread in the CastOut channel by 11 a.m. Eastern on Thursday. Are you ready and on? Let's outwit, outplay, and outcast this on-chain summer with CastOut. And thank you to our premier partner, Pinata, sponsor of both GM Farcaster and CastOut. All right. So
it's interesting because like in those like trailers, it's like the most muted I've ever seen you.
I'm very chill. I'm very chill in my those are my voiceover voices, you know. They're a little different. That's my announcer voice. So it's so funny because when I do things like that are like scripted, I screw up so much. This is why I do everything just live, because I have to do them like 5 times just to get it right. And then then I criticize myself. But anyway, here's where we're at. They have completed the Boregon Trail. We had a couple little missteps, if you will, because I forgot to clarify that, yes, your score had to be when you were alive, not just like your dead score. So, because part of the skill of this is knowing when to stop.
Yeah.
Right. Because with Boregon Trail, which is similar to Oregon Trail, you're trying to get to Oregon without dying, and you're being thrown all these different things at you. You can choose, like, you'll get a magic chest and you can choose whether or not to open it. If you open it, it could hurt you. It could help you, all these things. So you have to make choices along the way. And so I forgot to tell them that. And Kristen's like, I forget what it was, like 2 something. And I'm like, yeah, but you're dead. Yeah. She's like, oh, I have to be alive. I'm like, yes.
Adrienne was sharing her dead score too. And I was just like, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Man.
So I had given them all 7,500 board, which would give them enough to play 5 times and revive 5 times within those 5 games. So I gave them 3,000 more because I felt bad. So I gave each of them 3,000 more so they could play 2 more times, because I felt bad that Kristen didn't realize that she had to stop.
That's nice of you.
And I gave all the former players, the ones who've been casted out, 1,500 if they wanted to play. So it's a fun little game. Breadcat did a great upgrade to it this week. So if you're not familiar with Brock McBrockington, the Breadcat, he's fantastic dev. He really creates very fun games. Has a great project called Fishes. If you haven't checked it out, it's super fun. And he worked with Board Elon, as he's known on Twitter. And also Brian Morris. I didn't realize that the artist, Brian Morris, had done all the images on there. And I'm like, well, that makes sense why they're so good. Because all the visuals are really good. So it's really fun. They made some great improvements. You can hold an inventory piece and all these different things now, which you couldn't do. So that just went live Monday. So very last minute, I switched the challenges because the survey was supposed to be today. And because it wasn't quite, I hadn't had a chance to play it and test it out and understand like what the new things were. So anyway.
You guys played Oregon Trail before? Like the Oregon Trail, not Boregon Trail?
I have never played Oregon Trail. It was a little after my time when it was popular, like when they were doing it in schools. They never did it in my school. How about you, Ted or Lynx? Have you played Oregon Trail, the regular one? And how does it
I played
compare?
it. It was boring. I actually played Cross Country Canada instead, Canadian, and that was a little bit more fun for me.
Canadian Oregon Trail, like we're not going to Oregon. We're going to Vancouver.
Yeah. I was more of a Sims player than a Oregon Trail player. I was a big Sims fan.
So all different generations, pre-Oregon, Oregon, and post-Oregon.
Exactly. I was just a little too old. But I've been enjoying Boregon Trail. I do think it's fun. I like I like games you can play in the frame. I think it makes it easy and accessible and fun and something you can do like quickly on the fly and have some fun with, little competitions and things like that. So I love all this.
Well, it's super nice that you airdrop tokens because I was like, in preparation, I'll play Boregon Trail. And they're like, you must have board. And I was like, I'm out just because I was doing it. I was doing it like on the way somewhere and I didn't want to do a swap and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, but I will definitely try another time.
Yeah, that's why I sent them all because I didn't want any of the players to have to deal with that sort of friction. And even for the former players, if they wanted to play, and Lynx, I would have sent you some too. It's really not pricey because the board token is pretty cheap. So it wasn't like a big thing for me to do that. But yeah, it definitely puts a little limitation, but it also allows them to do some fun things in the background with those tokens. So I think it's a good use of a meme token. I will say that. But it definitely causes friction if you want people to play the game. So there's, pros and cons, I guess. Yes.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about gameplay. So here's where we are. We've got 4 mole left who seem to be holding strong in an alliance. You've got
surprise.
You got Carolyn, Kristen, and Toady. And then you have Grace from Wow Wow, who's still hanging in there. So I was hopeful that Grace might win immunity. This one because she had mentioned something at the time, like I have the least amount of followers of who's left and was worried about that. I'm like, this particular game, followers are irrelevant. So that wasn't going to play a role at all. So she had just as much chance as anybody else. And then we have the scores. So I pinged Grace a little bit before. I'm like, hey, you only got a half hour left, right? And she's like, oh yeah. I'm like, yeah, can you play? Because I hadn't seen anything from her yet. And so she did play, but didn't make it. She was dead. She never posted. She never was able to get a score that was higher than what was showing for the other players already. So she gave up. So we had Adrian and Cameron come in at 90 for 90 miles. So people were posting their scores here. This is Grace. It's officially the beginning of the end for me. No way I'm beating Toady Hawk 335 miles. I still can't believe he did that. Or even Kristen's 185. RIP Team Wow Wow. In this round's vote off was fun run, y'all. It's not, nothing's said and done yet, but and then
Grace gave up before she even started playing Boregon Trail, actually, because she kind of like posted like I'm dead already, and
I know,
dude. What is she supposed to do? Do you blame her?
Not at all. I do blame her because it's never over a Survivor, especially if you're the last of an alliance left standing. Well, that alliance, as soon as you're picked off, is going to have to start, like, there's a pecking order in that Mole alliance. And Grace, if she can, get her social game going, she can figure out what that pecking order is and talk to the 2 lowest and flip it.
There's always that possibility.
Except no, because no.
You don't think so? Why not?
Why do you think no? And you've played Crypto the game, so you have a little bit of experience in this sort of gameplay. So why do you think no? What do you think is
this plan was predetermined? Who would be like, oh, I'm now going to flip on my 4-person alliance to keep Grace in the game? Like, I'm
2
sorry.
lowest people in that alliance.
The two lowest people. Who are the two lowest people in that
I
alliance?
don't know.
That's the question. Yeah, who's the two lowest people in the alliance? I think you're right. I think you're right to some extent, Lynx, in that there's an opportunity, right? There's an opportunity for somebody to make a big move for a couple reasons. One, to sort of switch the alliances around and make some big moves, but also to make the big move. To make the big move is always a thing in Survivor that goes on your, what they call your Survivor resume when you're going before the jury to say, hey, I played the game hard. Here's what we did next. And that's,
here's
so that's
what
possible.
I think. What could be possible is that they realize that, if they vote off all WoW WoW team members, there's 3 of us who can then determine the winner. And so the only thing that they could do is like, okay, we actually need to get Grace on our side to vote for whoever the winner is, knowing that Ted and Erica are like, you guys are like just very, and so like that is the only thing is like, okay, like let's try and convert Grace, save Grace, get one of our sacrificed Team Mole members who's like, okay, not playing, to then be in the jury so that they actually are seating like a jury vote instead of doing it. And then they're like pretending that.
But who is seating that jury vote, right?
That's the only thing that they would do. But at the same time, I'm like, Grace is very smart. And I don't forget people who backstabbed me. And
everyone backstabbed you though? So
what?
I'm not going to vote for anyone?
Kristen and Adrian backstabbed me, and they know it, and they will admit it. And Kristen, I see you in the audience on Unlonely, and yeah, you're a backstabber, and you're a liar, and I won't forget that. So that's all.
Let's not forget it within the game, but let's forget it after the game.
Let's forget it. Because it was a game.
They're amazing people. They're amazing people.
Yeah, and that's kind of what it's funny because I was in we were doing a practice pitch session with Erica yesterday and with Adrian, and she's like, for this session I don't hate you right now, but yes, I hate you.
And I'm gonna have to fess up to you too, Ted. Of the DMs I've had with players and they asked what their strategy should be going into the thing, I was just like, Ted's a challenge beast. The only way to take out a challenge beast is when you have like the first opportunity to do it. And like, because you are a challenge beast.
Sorry, I just think that's lame. Okay, this is what I say. It's like, just play the game. Like the 4-person alliance isn't fun when it's like only 7 people in the finale. Like a 3-person, a 2-person alliance, interesting. But a 4-person alliance where they then rigged the game so that we couldn't play the game, lame.
But they were playing the game. They played it at a longer time horizon, right? Because like what you're saying, the strategy.
It was lame that all of a sudden when Grace and I could play the game, we couldn't play because the potato was dead for 6 hours.
Potato was dead for 6 hours. I will change the potato. I will say this. I will change the potato game because I love the potato game. But if we use it again, I will make some adjustments because I would definitely want you're out if you don't pass it within 20 minutes or something like that because we needed to keep it moving. But there was a strategy to sacrificing that player and always throwing it to them so that they can't.
So that was the strategy. I had no idea about that. I had no idea that someone took
strategy. I literally you can ask Erica, you can ask Grace. I was like, this is intentional, and as soon as it gets passed back, because I was like, no, and then you cut it off a little early because I was gonna wait for it to get sent back, and then you cut it off, and I was like, wait, it's an hour early. You said midnight.
Oh! I said between 11 and midnight. Yeah,
I know,
said,
but then you cut it off between. I said strategy was in action.
Yeah, you know it's funny though because there were people on Mole who didn't want it ending then either. So there was like Cameron made that call on his own. So it kind of So that was interesting because then it was going back to Toady at like 5 a.m, and he wasn't thrilled about that. He's like, couldn't we pass it a little bit longer?
He wasn't thrilled about that yet. His team had already decided how to win and vote me out. Also,
So it's interesting. This is also that's missing from someone outside of like I never knew any of this stuff. So that's really interesting that you're saying. And I respect that more.
They have an alliance. It's already being enacted. We can't pass it. And then all of a sudden, I could tell. Prof goes, just a reminder, you can pass it to me and it'll be dead. And then Cameron goes, I just passed it to you, smiley face. Like, that was engineered.
I set the rule up ahead of time. Yeah. So,
as a juror,
however,
do
I
you
will
respect
change
that game? As a juror, you don't respect that game?
I think that it was rigged. Like, I don't think that's like
I
fair
think it was
game.
rigged.
Like I think
I
that
think
that
it was a
rigged.
strategy. I don't think it
that
was
game was
rigged.
rigged.
I think
Like,
rigged. I think rigged is the wrong word. I think it was a strategy that I personally didn't anticipate. So, like the way it all played out, I didn't anticipate
reminded
it.
Cameron to pass the potato first, and then she reminded them that
I reminded everybody, including you. I DM'd you.
It would be
I
rigged.
DM'd you on a lot of things. So I
it would be rigged if Prof was involved, for sure.
Anyways, I don't blame Prof, but I do blame Adrian and Kristen for just being straight up liars. Like, that's not cool. Like, don't claim that you're going to be authentic and then actually be a backstabber.
Okay. Let's check into bracket game before we do the votes, because I have the votes ready to go. And let's see if bracket game is giving us any, pretty much what you'd expect. You've got Adrian and Toady still hanging on at the top. Cameron, well, no, actually, Cameron's in there. Toady by price, but Cameron by holders, Kristen and Grace. And Ted's still hanging in there, by the way, even though she's out of the game, which I kind of love that you're still like coming in at number
Hell
6.
yeah.
It's amazing. So do you all think, what is your prediction? Do you think that Grace is going home? Or do you think anyone's going to make a move? Ted, what do you think?
I think that based on what they've already done to date, that there could be a way in which they're trying to seed a jury vote and they save Grace and get a jury player who can't play anymore, who's already agreed, like, it's not a big deal. I'll vote for whoever wins on Team Malay. So, like, there is a chance that Grace is saved and that she can continue to play. Because again, that's like one more person. But that's like maybe a 33% chance, maybe higher.
Okay. And Lynx, what do you think?
I also think that Grace may stick around, but not through her own machinations, which I would have preferred, because I think that she can. I do think that she could actually upend the alliance on its head, but yeah, there's a chance that she's around, but it's also probably likely that she's gone.
I'm going to say one thing. I see Kristen saying, if I play shitty, then she thinks it's no fun. If I'm sneaky, then she's unhappy too. There's a difference between playing competitive and then lying and saying that you're going to honor a girls' alliance and then voting with both of your votes on me. So that's different. Like, if you can just be like, yo, I'm going to vote for you, or like, yo, I have a different alliance, and like, oh, but don't try and convince me that you are allegiant and committed to the girls' alliance and then place both of your votes on me. That's not playing sneaky. That's fine.
Don't you have to lie in Survivor?
There's different ways to lie.
Yeah.
But
yes, you usually do. Usually at some point you gotta lie to somebody.
But you could lie about a lot of things. You don't lie saying, oh yeah, I'm loyal to this, and then
that is kind of exactly what happens in Survivor. But I see your point as well.
It was a nasty lie, not like a nice lie.
Yeah, exactly. I think I get it. And this is what happens when I actually lawyered, which is even more annoying. It's funny. I actually, this is what plays out in Survivor. Even if the 4 Mole make it through this round, there's going to be 2 that are out the next round. So that if they don't turn on each other now, they're turning on each other next.
But what if they already all agreed to split the winnings?
I don't think that that's the case.
I think it's probably not enough to bother. Like,
yeah.
You just, when we started, it was a few $1,000s. Now it's
it's just cratered. It's unfortunate about lying, though, that like the lies that are like the closest to the thing you want are the most effective, right? So I could see that you really wanted it. You really actually wanted to partner with Kristen in this girls' alliance, and probably the thing that was closest to her made it. Kristen
was silly to not partner with me, because I told her I would have made her. I was like, I want you to win, and instead you got me out. I literally told her, I was like, I think that you deserve to win this. I want you to win this, and then she decides to vote me out.
But doesn't that mean that she almost deserves to win more because she got you out? That's like it's pretty hard to get Ted out.
No. It's really easy to get me out when you have however many votes on me. It actually wasn't hard to get me out at all.
I would say that is a big resume piece, like a big bill. I would say I would call that out. Like taking out the queen is always going to be a big resume builder.
It was actually
taking out whoever the person is that you think is at the top, you know. Yeah. So
the way that they took you out was actually giving you like a ton of respect as a player. I thought they took you out because you're way too dangerous to keep around.
Honestly,
yeah, totally.
I just think it was, I don't know. Honestly, I think it would have made for a more interesting game, and Kristen can go back and like pinpoint whatever part of a conversation, but I trusted you and I shouldn't have, is ultimately the takeaway. And I understand that you didn't trust me because because you probably thought I was going to backstab you, but
yeah, there's probably some of that too, where, you know, nobody's believing anybody. And it's funny that Adrian keeps saying that the advice she keeps getting over and over again is trust no one. I think that is a valid piece of advice in Survivor.
That's so funny because in Crypto the Game, I like trusted everyone.
How'd that work out? It got you very far, but in the end,
it depends if you want to win, or if you want to win the game, or if you want to win like the meta game of life. Because I think a lot of people came out of Crypto the Game saying like, oh, I forget who it was, Lee Jin, who said like, oh, Ted should be president, right? Like that just based upon your performance in Crypto the Game. So you lost Crypto the Game, but you won adulation.
Yeah, definitely.
It's probably the same in the Survivor.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I'm going to show the votes. And this is the way I wanted to show the votes this whole time, and I haven't had enough time to do it between the voting and the show. So I'm going to show it the same way they show it on Survivor, where I'm going to show one vote at a time and let you know what has occurred. So we do have an immunity idol at play. That immunity idol is held by Adrian, and she has chosen to play it for Grace. So,
okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So we have one vote for Grace, but it does not count. So no votes for Grace. We have one vote for Kristen. That does count. We have another vote for Grace. Does not count. We have another vote for Kristen. That does count.
That's enough votes, right?
Finally, we do have enough votes for Kristen. We have 3 votes for Kristen, 2 votes for Grace that do not count. And Kristen, I'm sorry.
That's a great
Although photo. I've been dying to use this picture. I'm sorry that I have to use it on you today.
That is
and
so
Kristen,
funny.
You, I'm sorry, have been voted out. The tribe has spoken.
Wow.
Off the island.
So
There we have. There
Kristen,
we have it.
Welcome to.
I'll be removing you from one group chat and adding you to another. In just
I'm bummed for you because I wanted to see you go all the way to the end, even though I might not have voted for you as a jury member.
Even though you're dead to me and I hate you, I wanted to see you
hang in there
a little bit.
I don't hate her.
Kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, she's amazing.
So what I don't know is what we don't know, and what only Kristen can answer is if this was part of a larger plan. I'm not sure it was.
It had to have been part of a larger plan, right? Why would you?
She's been, or if she's been blindsided. She could have been blindsided. So I don't know if Kristen was in on it. I have no idea.
Kristen was in on voting herself out?
She said,
I think so.
Okay. I think she may have.
Kristen is not in on voting herself out. Why would she be? She wouldn't want to win?
I did get what I wish, which was to be voted off for being threatening instead of being lame. Okay.
Ha!
So what does that mean?
That's exactly what you got voted, Ted.
Yeah.
You're not so different, you and Kristen.
You're the same. So Sai, you were blindsided. Okay. Kristen, Sai, I was blindsided. Okay. And I had a feeling that she probably was because of the 2 votes. So there were 2 votes for Grace and 3 for Kristen. And I have not revealed who voted for whom on any of the votes, so I won't this time, but I'm sure that people will figure that out shortly and it will be shared somewhere. So very interesting. Little bit of flip around. I think Ted, you have some really good instincts on what you thought was going to happen. I think it's very close to what you thought. So
I still think that
you're
Grace
still
is getting
alive.
used. Like, I still think that she's a pawn in a larger scheme.
However,
And
it's a huge risk.
It's
a
think
huge risk.
that Kristen saying Saya was blindsided reads as she knew exactly that this was coming.
Well, I guess I can admit now that a couple days ago, Kristen was like, "Oh, I don't know if there's a path for me to win here," and so.
Oh, you mean like what she also said to me? I wouldn't trust anything. She knows
Well,
that you're in a lot of people's DMs. She's very smart.
That's
Trust
true.
no
But
one.
that other person who voted for Grace is now at the bottom. They know that they're at the bottom of the alliance. So you knew Kristen and this other person were definitely at the bottom of that original alliance, and Kristen could have banded with this person to vote for one of the other people who, like Adrian is obviously one of the top people in this alliance. She didn't use the immunity on herself. There's one other person who Adrian was working with who they could have banded against, right? And I think like that's why Survivor is never, especially when you get down to these numbers, Survivor's never over. There's no like I'm dead.
How many jury votes does everybody else get?
So you each get one who are on the jury. So right now that's you, Heavyweight, and Kristen. And then the rest of the players who've already been casted out collectively will have one vote. And they will be the tiebreaker if there is a tie between the last two.
So
their vote is
like
you each have a vote. So Ted, you have one vote, Eric has one vote, Kristen has one vote. Whoever the two people are that are voted out next, so there'll be 5 total on the jury, plus there'll be this bonus vote from the other players. So they'll be able to vote, and that will count as one vote. But if there is a tie, if it's split right down the middle, then their vote will be the tiebreaker. So if that makes sense, it'll count as 2 only if it needs to be for a tie.
Although for Kristen right now, it seems like that Girls Alliance looks pretty good in retrospect, huh? All the people who were voted out would probably have been on it.
And Kristen, I just removed you from the group, and it's because Cameron can't access Unlonely and has no idea what's going on. So I just removed her from the groups to give him the idea of what the heck's going on. So now he knows.
Another mention of direct communication between Cameron and Nounish Prof. Maybe with this rigging stuff, Ted. I don't know. It seems like they talk quite a bit, right?
It's in the group chat. It's in the CastOut group chat. The group chat for the players. He said it. He said, I can't access Unlonely right now. I told you there's some people traveling, so they have internet challenges, and it's been interesting. So I think this is going to make for interesting gameplay. So here's the thing. There's going to be one person in the next game who gets immunity. Only one out of 4, but they have to vote out. It's another halving. So they have to vote out 2. So Grace, it's all back to you now.
Grace,
this is all on you. You can be the queen maker. You can be the queen maker, but you gotta win immunity.
Adrian and one person, and the players know who they are, but there's Grace, Adrian, and one person who voted for Grace who shouldn't have. They're on the bottom, and one person who voted for Kristen who's with Adrian and Grace now. And so it's this other person. Anyways, now they're 4, 2 on 2. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Going to get interesting. So Monday, I'll announce the next challenge. And this one, assuming all goes well, is the challenge that's being created by Pinata. So very excited for that. And they're tweaking something that they did before. So we'll see how that goes. Toadie's been a challenge beast, like through all these game challenges, actually every challenge, he's been right in there, either winning or coming in second or, right in there. So, that's the one that I think Grace has to look out for and just be mindful of. And it's going to be all on her. Really, it's gonna be her call here.
Why is it all on Grace? I don't understand.
All on Grace, just for fun. It's not really, but just for the drama. I'm excited though. I'm excited that you're still in it, Grace. I think it makes it much more fun. Kristen, I know, but you are a great player, and I would have definitely put a target on your back if I was playing. For sure.
What?
However, I think there's been a huge misstep. huge missed opportunity to get Toady out right now, but
I'm so
Adrian had a community idol.
So
I'm just so confused. Like, my take is just like partner with the best people and get them to the end.
But then you can't win against the German. Not if you want to win, right? So this is what's called.
If you want to win, like
sometimes not. Sometimes not. You usually want to bring somebody along who can be who you think
sacrificed. You want to bring the goat along at the end, right?
I was thinking goat. I almost said bring a goat. Yeah, I didn't know if anyone would know what that meant.
Someone says Girls Alliance could be a long con to get out Toady. Well, unfortunately, the Girls Alliance was shattered when Kristen and Adrian backstabbed us. Sad.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
Do unto others before they do unto you. There you go.
Basic survivor tenet. It's one of the 10 survivor commandments.
There you go. Oh, so anyway, we're going to wrap it here. Again, bye, Kristen. You were an incredible player. I love that picture. Excited to see what happens next. And here is the full scheme of the vote here. Here's all the cast out players. We still have 4 in there. Toady, Hawk, Grace, Cameron, and Adrian hanging in there. 2 foxes, a toad, and Grace.
Because they're 2 foxes, I assume that they're working together.
Could be. I don't know. You'll have to ask them. So yeah, that'll be what you have
Adrian
to
did
figure
say
out
that
from this point
she
forward.
could not pick on the boys because they are her friends.
What?
Like, oh, are we not? Oh, okay. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you for letting us know that the boys are your friends. So I'm just gonna throw that little tidbit out there.
Well, now you got to figure out, who she did give Grace her immunity idol. I mean, it could Grace be strategy, or it could be that she wanted to save her. Maybe she wanted to revive the Girls Alliance. I don't know.
Grace could have been brought along like forcefully though, because Grace seemed like she thought she was going to get voted out, right? And so,
no, Grace, did you have any idea? Did you have any idea that you were getting the idol? I'll see if she answers on the chat, because I know she was in the chat. By the way, Toady just said, going offline for the rest of the day, don't at me.
Toady,
so in other words, everybody at Toady.
So Toady was the one who voted for Grace then, probably. This seems like oh my God, I don't even know who I am.
I don't know if they want to reveal. Yeah. Grace has a spine. There's no forcing her to do anything. Grace may have gone off the chat. I'm not sure. But Grace, I'm curious. I am curious if you know, and I'll ask you later again if you don't answer on the stream, if you knew that the immunity idol was being played for you, or if it was a surprise. Oh, I left for 5 seconds. I'm here. So Grace, did you know you were getting the immunity idol? Like, did Adrian tell you, or was it a total surprise to you as well when I announced it? That's all I was curious about. Because I do think that's interesting, because she may not be even in the loop on the strategy. I have no idea.
It's great.
So I did, but there was always the off chance that it was a lure. Okay. So she did know, but she didn't know if she should trust it. So
trust no one. All right, Grace, you know how to play.
Yeah. And Adrian just said, I could have told her she was getting it and then kept it for myself. True. And if you want to know what's happening in the game, you'll have to double the prize.
I wouldn't put that past Adrian.
Yeah. I mean, she's been playing pretty well, so it was possible. She could have done it just to make Grace feel comfortable and then played it for herself. There was all kinds of possibilities here today. And Toady wants me, if I want to know what's happening in the background, I'll have to double the prize pool. I'll think about it. I was thinking about doing that anyway.
I was hoping it'd be like more like Truman Show than it is right now. Like we would really see like what these people were thinking and talking about.
I got to figure that out. And I feel like there's ways to do that, but I need to set it up ahead of time to let the players know that I'm going to do that. Cause I don't want to be like, I'm going to share everything you put in the DMs. So unless they know that for sure, even though there's always that possibility, DMs always get shared. So anyway, with that, we're going to call it here. A couple things happening later today that you might be interested in at coming up at, I think it's at 1. Yeah, at 1. We have I Speak Nerd is going to be doing, or no, that's at 2. At 1, I think, is the demo day for Seed Club. So go check that out. And 1 o'clock might be I Speak Nerd doing a Nouns demo game as well. So a couple things happening. Look for them on the timeline. I'll be here tomorrow morning with a guest co-host, but I'm not sure who that is yet. So working on that part. So that'll be a surprise for you all at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Adrian's going to be on a train heading to the writing hackathon. So tomorrow is the writing hackathon. If you're participating, I know I'm so excited. I'm doing the URL track with Ted, and Adrian and YB are doing the IRL in New York City. We're going to be streaming some of that to those who are going to be in the URL track. Excited to do some writing tomorrow. So lots of fun happening.
The theme of that writing hackathon, I believe, is betrayal? No, that's not it. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
I'm just kidding. Okay, just to be clear, I'm just playing salty stir the pot player. I actually have the utmost respect for Kristen and Adrian and think that they are amazing humans. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I just, sometimes we just got to add a little spice, a little drama, Just a little spice.
Yes. Oh, sorry. And both things are at 1 o'clock. So C Club demo day, and then the Nouns demo play with I Speak Nerd tabletop. So 2 things coming up. Super fun. Lots of fun things happening. Excited for writing hackathon tomorrow, and then we'll be back next Tuesday with the CastOut edition. It's our last challenge. We'll launch Monday. We'll have the vote on Tuesday. We'll be down to 2 players, and then it switches to the jury. Each of the remaining players, the 2 remaining players, will do a pitch to the jury. They'll post that on the timeline. They can either do it written or video form.
Video.
I vote video, but I didn't want to, I wanted to give them options. I vote video as well. And then the jury will vote. So again, each jury member, the 5 who have been casted out last, will each have 1 vote, and then the collective others will have 1 collective vote as well.
Can I make a suggestion, Prof, for that video? Could the jury members have a question that they ask each of the 2 survivors before they make their videos?
Really good idea. That's a really good idea. Yes, I will ask for questions, and then we'll have and also they'll be able to post questions on that cast as well in the replies. So we'll definitely have some interaction going on between the jury and the players. We won't do a formal tribal council. Again, that's mostly been for like time zone issues and things like that. I'm going to figure out the logistics of that. So we're trying to do as much async as we can. But yes, we'll have those opportunities for the jury to sort of grill the remaining players on their gameplay. So that'll be fun.
Honestly,
so that'll be next week.
The worst part of Crypto the Game is when people are like, what they like try and recount everything. They're like, the jury sometimes is like, what about this and what about that? And you're like, I was playing the game, which is definitely Kristen's out now, so it's definitely what Adrian's gonna say.
I was playing a game, man. Let me be.
I know.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to call it here. And thank you so much. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Lynx, for filling in for TLDR and Jace. I think they'll be back with me on Tuesday. We'll have a final wrap on bracket game. We'll be getting close in. If you were holding some Kristen, might be a good time to sell that.
I don't know. I think you should hold to the end.
Hold to the end? Maybe.
Hold to the end.
I'm going to sell it now.
And with that, we'll see you all, everybody. Bye-bye.